With all the craziness that's going on in our real estate market and with the economy in general, you might be wondering, should I even be buying a house right now? Well, stay tuned. That's what we're talking about in today's video. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Carla here with Benchmark Realty, your local realtor in Clarksville, Tennessee. I wanted to touch base with you guys to let you know what's going on with our real estate market here in Clarksville, Montgomery County, Tennessee, and what I'm seeing here lately, and just shoot you straight. And you can use that information to decide what's best for you and your family. But right now is a crazy time. It is a unique time in real estate. I'm not going to lie to you. Between the higher interest rates hovering around 7% right now to the inflated home prices, it is making it for a really wonky time, especially since we still have historically low inventory despite all that. Reason being is it's like something like 64% of homeowners right now are sitting on a 4% or lower interest rate on their mortgage right now. A lot of sellers just don't have incentive to sell right now. They don't have incentive to sell. They're locked in on a low interest rate. They don't want to go and sell and then have to get into a home that's, double or triple the interest rate than they're currently in, unless they're in a really a bind where they have to sell to death, divorce, job relocation, PCS, for the military or something along those lines. Many sellers just don't have any motivation to sell and be rid of their low interest rate that they're locked into, which of course I don't blame them. But that puts our buyers in a kind of a precarious situation because we still have low inventory because all these sellers are not really wanting to sell. Right now, at the time this recording, which is the end of September of 2023, we were having around 975 homes for sale for the entire county. That is an entire county of Montgomery County. That is extremely low. To be in a more balanced, healthy market, you want to be around 1,500, 1,600, 2,000 homes for sale. It puts the buyers in this precarious situation where they still have very low inventory to choose from, but also they have to deal with the higher interest rates and inflated home prices that were brought up when the interest rates were at the 2 and 3%, and it was just a frenzy. So many people were buying and increasing the home values, the price of the homes. Bidding wars after bidding wars, 40,000, 50,000 over asking price. Buyers having to put in multiple offers. I'm talking 5, 10, 15 offers before their offer would be accepted. It was just insane. So all of that craziness when we were in the pandemic and had the low interest rates inflated the housing market as far as the pricing goes. So now here we are. The feds wanted to slow the increase of the prices. So they were like, okay, pump the brakes. Let's pump the brake. We're going to increase the interest rate to 7% so that we'll have fewer buyers. So the idea is they want to decrease the amount of competition in the market to buy. They're hoping that the prices of homes will continue to remain the same or lower with the higher interest rates. And there are sources like Fannie Mae and NAR, the National Association of Realtors, saying that they are projecting lower interest rates in 2024 to be into the 6s, possibly 5%. But of course, there's no guarantee. We don't have crystal balls. These are just projections from various sources. And just so you know, the median price point in Clarksville, Tennessee for a home right now is around $319,000 with 10 days on the market. And if you're under $300,000 price point, around that $200,000 to $300,000 price point, you're looking at 6 days on market. And anything above $300,000, the median days on market is around 22 days on market. So you can see right there on the stats that the higher in price point you go, the higher days on market you have. So a little bit more flexibility the buyers might have in homes and asking for incentives, the higher price point that you go. So just something to keep in mind. Now, with all that being said, there are some incentives still for buyers if you're looking to buy right now. Look at what you can afford today. Even with the higher interest rates, see if it makes sense for you to buy right now. If you're looking to sell in a few years, I would recommend just don't buy, because you're realistically, if you go to sell in, say 3 years, after closing costs, and you're paying commission to a realtor, and just you're not going to have a lot of equity built in unless you're staying long term. So if you're looking to buy and sell in a few years, I'd recommend just hold what you got. Don't buy right now in this volatile market. If you're looking at the long term to buy and stay in a location, you could potentially still get a benefit of buying today, because some of the houses are sitting a while. Yes, we have low inventory, but for houses that are under the $300,000 threshold, they are still going under contract pretty fast, around 6-7 days on market, especially if they are in really good condition, well kept, and they look good. I'm not gonna lie to you, if you're under 300,000, it's gonna go pretty fast. But in the higher price point, in that 350, 3 to 400 or above price point, there are some homes that are sitting a while and having price reductions, and sellers are offering incentives to buyers. Sellers offering to pay some or all of your closing costs, offering to throw in a home warranty for the buyer, offering to include their fridge or other appliances, offering to actually complete repairs, actually doing and agreeing to favorable terms for the buyer, such as maybe a home sale contingency or a certain closing date preference for the buyer, which a year and a half ago, that was unheard of. You had a home contingency to have to sell your home somewhere else in order to buy here. Your offer was going at the bottom of the stack. There are some benefits right now. I mean, in my last few closings that I've had several sellers agree to pay my buyers' closing costs and the repairs and various other incentives. Builders are also throwing out incentives like agreeing to buy down the buyer's rate, agreeing to pay for the buyer's closing costs, paying for a fence to be installed, a fridge. So in that regard, it still is a good time to buy if you can afford your payment right now, even with the higher interest rates. And then when the time is right and rates come down and you can refi at that time. And then one more thing before I move on, I want to mention that even with the lower inventory, my buyers actually have some houses to choose from, and they're not as rushed, which is really a big deal, because before, when there was the insanity, when the market was in the 2 and 3%, my buyers would have to drop everything, run from work, or have me run over to a house, put an offer on the house that same day, or maybe sight unseen, because you just don't have time to schedule showing for the next day. Well, now we actually have a little bit of time. We have a few houses to choose from. My buyers can afford to be a little bit pickier. So there are some upsides to this market. So you can either take advantage of them now or wait till the interest rates come down, which is completely understandable, but just understand that when the interest rates do come down a bit, the competition is going to go back up again, and you may not be able to get the same incentives such as closing costs and things like that I mentioned earlier. You won't be getting too many incentives from the sellers once they are getting multiple offers again when the interest rates come down. And to be honest with you, I've had buyers on both sides of the fence. I've had buyers say, you know what, Carla, I just can't stomach this interest right now. My monthly payment is just not going to make sense. It's not going to get me into the house that I would really see myself living in, which I completely understand. And they sit off on the sidelines. They're waiting for, the time is right where it makes sense. But I do tell them, just be aware, if you wait too long, interest rates go back lower, you are going to have more competition and potentially less incentives, getting your realistic chances of getting your closing costs paid for or getting your rate bought down by the seller, or other incentives like that, like a craziness feeding frenzy again with the multiple offers and people offering their firstborn child to get into a house. And one more thing I wanted to mention on this note before I move on is there's an expression in real estate that you probably may have heard. It's called marry the house, date the rate. Basically saying get into a house and then refinance later, date the rate. Refinance when the interest rates come down, which a lot of people are doing. I have clients that are like, yeah, heck yeah, get us into a house. There's less competition. The sellers are paying my closing costs, and throwing in a home warranty, maybe agreeing to repairs. This is amazing compared to 2 years ago, which is great. But I also tell them you need to make sure that it makes sense to refi, because refining isn't for free. When it comes time to refinance your loan, when that makes sense, you have to keep in mind you still have to qualify for that. There still are closing costs, and you want to make sure you know your break-even point. So if you're planning on staying in the house for a good amount of time, then maybe it makes sense to refi and pay those closing costs associated with the refinance. But if it's costing you $5,000 to refi just to save you $200 or $300 a month, you want to make sure you know where your break-even point to make sure it makes sense to refi. And then the other token, I have sellers that I have to bring into a little bit of reality check and say, hey, the market has slowed down and you may or may not get, a ton of offers the first 24, 48 hours or a week or more on your home, especially if they're in the higher price point bracket. I just want to throw that out there and let you know, have those conversations with your agent, whether you're looking to, be the buyer or be the seller, so you have realistic expectations in this crazy market that we're dealing with. And one last thing before I let you guys go. If you are going to decide to stay on the sidelines, wait a little bit before you jump into the market and look to buy, make sure you reach out to an agent, or if not, then a loan officer. Just speak to them and see where you are. The last thing I want for you is to be, jumping back into the market next year, and then you go to get your pre-approval and something is unexpectedly showing on your credit report that maybe you weren't aware of. It's better to get ahead of it now and prepare for the future, and at least have your credit potentially pulled and see what you can qualify for. And if you do need to work on anything, you have a plan of action with a reputable lender that can tell you step by step, hey, this is what we need to do. A lot of them will have credit simulators to say, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, your credit should be showing this. And they can walk you through what it's going to be most advantageous for you. Maybe paying off a few debts. Maybe it is working on, continuing to improve your credit score. Maybe it's getting job stability. Maybe you need a longer job period. Maybe it's increasing your income as a whole. Yeah, there's things that you can be being proactive with to get you in the best position when you are ready to buy. All right, you all, I hope this video was helpful and helped shed some light on what's going on in today's market in Clarksville. Every market is very different. So, what's going on in my market is going to look different than what it is in Nashville, just an hour away. So definitely reach out if you're looking to buy or sell in the Clarksville, Montgomery County area, and I'd be happy to have a consultation with you and see if it makes sense for us to work together. All right, guys, until next time, I'll see you in the next video. And one last thing before I let you all do Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Carla here with Really, Erin? With all of them. What?